Sorry, it took forever to get stuff straightened out. Again, more technical difficulties this time with Facebook. They decided they didn't want to let me go live. We're working on getting the rest of the stuff up here, folks. Give me 1 second to get straightened out here. We're working on it. We've had to shift a couple screens around up here. So we're getting ready to go live. Trying to get this to work. Having a lot of issues. There we go. I think we got it now. We good now? Dave, what do you say we get this show started, shall we? Yeah, it's about that time, isn't it? There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the one and only world famous Rich Wilson show. Yeah, that's right, folks. It's time. I hope you got your popcorn ready. It's going to be interesting. So, folks, without further ado, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Rich Wilson show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the one and only world famous Rich Wilson show. I'm Rich Wilson, and you're not. Let's check in on our glorious President of the United States, see what he has to say today.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him...
Whatever that was, Mr. President, but thank you very much for letting us know that America is defined as... So, there you go. Check it out over here. Yeah, so we've got it up everywhere. All right, cool. Everything is operating. I've got 3 different versions of me looking back at me right now. It's pretty freaky, actually. So, all right, where to go? That's not what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So tonight, folks, we're going to talk about the President of the United States. He came out with a nice little statement today concerning. Yeah, sure. Concerning a fuel tax holiday for 90 days. And I'm going to tell you right now that I'm not 100% certain it's going to have the consequences, but we're going to do a react to it. And I'll tell you pretty much when he's full of shit, which won't take long. I got this from PBS NewsHour. So let's take a look and see what the president has to say about a gas tax holiday. Let's see what's going on here. And here we go. Should be working.
About the actions I'm announcing to bring down gas prices. First, today I'm calling on Congress to suspend the federal gas tax for the next 90 days through the busy summer season, busy travel season. Here's what that means. Every time you go to the gas station to fill your tank, the federal government charges an 18-cent tax per gallon of gas that you purchase and a 24-cent tax per gallon of diesel you purchase. It's a tax that's been around for 90 years. It's important because we use it for the Highway Trust Fund to keep our highways going. But what I'm proposing is suspending the federal gas tax without affecting the Highway Trust Fund. And here's how we do that. With the tax revenues up this year and our deficit down over $1.6 trillion
That's not accurate, by the way. It's not accurate.
this year alone, we'll still be able to fix our highways and bring down prices of gas. We can do both at the same time.
He tells you that the deficit is down, but the Build Back Better program. Try again, Mr. Joe. The Build Back Better program is spending more money than what you saved in the country. The deficit was not shrunk by $1 trillion. So, and here's the thing: you say that, oh, we shrank the deficit by $1 trillion. Okay, all right. But then you're gonna, instead of taking the tax in on the gas, we're gonna use money that we saved and spend it on roads. Except the problem is, we're still in a larger deficit than $1 trillion. So we saved some money to spend money we still didn't have in the first damn place. This is government logic for you right here. We saved $1 trillion. And now we're going to take the $1 trillion we saved and we're going to spend it on roads when we don't have $1 trillion. We're over $20 trillion in debt right now. So if you saved $1 trillion, okay, we're at $19 trillion in debt. Now we're going to spend another $1 trillion. So guess what? We're going right back to it. I guess they consider this deficit neutral by this standard.
By suspending the 18-cent gas tax, federal gas tax, for the next 90 days, we can bring down the price of gas and give families just a little bit of relief.
No, it won't. Trust me, it won't. I'll get to that later.
I call on the companies to pass this along, every penny of this 18 cents reduction to the consumers. There's no time now for profiteering. There are a number of other proposals by Democrats in the House and the Senate, and I hope my call for action can help move those proposals forward as well. But we can also cut gas prices even more in another way. That's why the second action I'm taking is calling on states to either suspend the state gas tax as well or find other ways to deliver some relief. State gas taxes average 30 cents per gallon. Already, some states have acted. In Connecticut and New York, the governors have temporarily suspended their gas tax as well. In Illinois and Colorado, governors delayed theirs to give families a bit more breathing room as well. In Minnesota, Governor Walz proposes using state budget surpluses to give households a rebate that will help them pay for gas at the pump or other essential needs. I'm calling on more states and local governments to take actions like these. Thanks to our historic economic recovery, which fortified state budgets that had been hurt in the pandemic, states are now in a strong position to be able to afford to take some of these actions.
There is no economic recovery. Like, where the hell have you been living, Chief? Because right now we're facing the possibility of a recession. We have we've gone through 1/4 of an economic downturn, and if we go through another one back to back, that's called a recession. That's not an economic recovery. I love how they keep saying this. Oh, we had an economic recovery. The economy's the best it's ever been. Really? I can tell you that I know an individual who lost 25% of his 401k in 1 week. We're in the middle of the best economy ever. You got people that are literally having to work another job to pay for the fuel. And then you're sitting there going, well, people sit there and go, the president of the United States can't determine the cost of fuel. And then you think, oh, the oil companies can determine the cost of fuel. I don't know how stupid people have to be. The president can affect the cost of fuel. Okay. And y'all said he can't affect the cost of fuel. He can't affect the cost of fuel. Really? He's about to give us a gas tax holiday that's going to affect the cost of fuel. President can't make decisions that affect the cost of fuel. I guess every argument the liberals made over the last couple of years, or the last year, just shot that right in the ass. So next time somebody wants to put up one of those posts, the president can't affect the cost of fuel, then why are we getting a tax holiday? Why are we getting a gas tax holiday? Oh, well, yeah, exactly. You're gonna get like somebody having a seizure. Folks, this whole thing, this smoke and mirrors, it's a load of bullshit. I'm gonna explain more when this is over with. Yeah, his deficit quote is BS. That's projected over 10 years that they follow through on a least expansive path, which requires states to suck up huge costs in the first 5 years or more debt. Yeah, that Build Back Better plan, in the end, when the economist has even done the math on it, it's not saving $1 trillion. It's not. All right, let's keep going, because I'm going to explain to you why this is not going to work, and I'm almost about to get into it now. There's only about 10 minutes of this left to go.
Now, I fully understand that a gas tax holiday alone is not going to fix the problem, but it will provide families some immediate relief, just a little bit of breathing room as we continue working to bring down prices for the long haul. Third, I'm calling on the industry to refine more oil into gasoline and to bring down gas prices.
Okay, so are we going to remove all the red tape you've put in the last year and a half that'll allow them to do that? Because the CEO of Valero has come out and said, remove the restrictions you've implemented in the last year and we will be able to do exactly what you want.
Explain. I know my Republican friends claim we're not producing enough oil, and I'm limiting oil production. Quite frankly, that's nonsense. Here's the truth. Just this month, America produced 12 million barrels of oil per day. That's the highest, that's higher than average under my predecessor. And we're on track to set a new record for production next year. Plus, I've added to that supply of oil by releasing a record 1 million barrels of oil per day from what's called the Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
I'm asking the same question you are. What refineries are we producing oil at 12 million barrels a day? Because I've looked everywhere for this information. I cannot find it. I have literally looked at the Department of Energy. I've looked everywhere. I cannot find where these 12 million barrels per day have come from, because that's awfully interesting that we were at almost 12 million barrels a day when Trump left office. By the time we got to May 14th, which that's an important date, we were down around 9.5 million barrels a day. We've been at about 9.25 million barrels per day for a while now. Suddenly now we're at 12 billion barrels per day. Where is he getting that number from? Because I can't find it. Now you watch after he made this statement, if you go to the Department of Energy, suddenly they'll say the United States is pumping 12 million barrels per day. Not just Valero, the API said that professionals across all spheres of petroleum production, this guy's third-party watchdogs and this. Yeah. Like I said, all of a sudden out of nowhere, we're doing 12 million barrels a day. We were at 9.25 to 9.5 all the way up until the beginning of June. Suddenly we've started pumping this out. Where? Like I said, there is no numbers that support this. Exxon says that they have not been able to increase their productions. Valero says they have not been able to increase their production. What is it? BP has not said that they've increased their production. Nobody's come out and said they've increased their productions at all. But somehow we're running 12 million barrels a day now. when no company said they've done it. That should alarm you right there. No company said they're doing this, but somehow we are. According to Rathalos, he's pumping the additional oil out of his hindquarters. At these prices, the industry can tap it and refine it if they would. And you know what? Valero, BP, Exxon, there's another one that Shell, have all sat there and said, remove the restrictions you have put in place since you took office, and we will get this back up to where we're independent again, and we can get a handle on the shortage. And he keeps saying, oh, it's just because they're thinking of profit. Folks, understand that oil is one of those things that you make more in bulk than you do off of individual item. So think about it. You can make more money off of 100 barrels of oil at a lower cost than you can that 1 barrel of oil at a higher cost. 75 alerts. He canceled permits. He makes no sense. And they have. Here's the other thing. While Trump was in office, his predecessor, okay, Donald Trump streamlined the approval process and the certification process for safety to be able to drill exploratory wells, to be able to start tapping out those leased lands that they were talking about. They were able to drill in Alaska. Biden came along and changed all of that. Okay? Made it, shut down the Alaska oil field from drilling. And then put so much red tape involved into getting your permits and your safety certifications in order to drill exploratory wells to find out if there's anything even there, to the point there is literally thousands of permit requests sitting in the Department of Energy and the Department of Natural Resources right now, and they're not approving them. They're just sitting there. And he wants us to think that 18 cents is going to, per gallon is suddenly miraculously going to make this all better. I'll explain to you why it won't when we get through this.
In fact, I just led the world to coordinate the largest release of global oil reserves in history.
God,
including from other countries.
We got to have almost none left.
That's 240 million barrels to boost global supply. And Republicans falsely claim that I'm blocking production on federal land.
Oh, by the way, did you notice that caveat, what he said in there, folks? 240 million barrels of oil to the global supply. The United States is not going to get 240 million barrels of oil for gasoline in the United States to bring the cost of gas down in the United States. Nope, we're sending it overseas. Let me catch up on the chat real quick while I got him paused. These prices the industry can tap and refine if they would. I already covered that. He canceled permits. Yep, covered that. They do gangbusters at lower prices and higher volume. There's no way they're doing this to themselves despite the record profit. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions. Everybody's like, well, they're jacking up the price and slowing production down so then that way they can make more money. They're actually making less. Right? If you look at the profit margin curve that was going on during Donald Trump and towards the end of Trump's time in office, the profit margin percentage-wise on oil turned into gasoline and diesel was insane, okay? Was insane. Now, the profit margin per barrel of oil to gasoline is a hell of a lot lower than it was. A hell of a lot lower. And they're not going to do this shit for free, folks. At no point should you think that Shell, BP, Valero, any of them are going to do this shit for free. They're not going to say, well, it cost us, X amount of dollars to make 50 gallons of gas, so that's all we're going to charge is what it cost us to make the gas. They're not going to do that. Why? Because they can't pay anybody. People are like, well, they're making record profits. No, actually, they're not. If this was 2 years ago, at the rate of demand, and they were allowed to increase the amount of oil production to meet the demand, they would be making an insane amount of money right now. In fact, my shares that I have purchased in ExxonMobil would not be in the tank right now. Okay? They wouldn't be in the tank. But my shares in ExxonMobil are in the tank right now. Okay, so tell me how they're making record profits, because I'm not making any money off of it. Like I said, I've got shares in ExxonMobil. I'm losing my ass. Who's making money? Because profits are actually down. What they want to tell you is, oh, well, they have buyback programs. They're allowing stockholders to buy back stock. Yeah, it happens every single year, folks. And every major corporation, they do these things. This is nothing new, but they know that half of the population has no idea what the hell they're talking about. It's like I got stock in Ford. Okay? Every single time it hits a certain amount, I get dividend payments. I get buyback options. I get different options. I don't have much, but I have enough. And I'm not rolling in money, It's like $5 here, $3 there. One time it was 40 cents. Okay? But if you're involved in major corporations like that, these things happen. It's a part of how they operate. API explained it. The oil buzz is so unstable that kneecapped investors are pulling out, and that's part of what you're seeing too. You got people investing. The reason why I'm losing my ass in Exxon is because people are pulling out, selling out, which means the prices are dropping. They're making record profits. They're counting what the sales of their stocks are as part of how much they're making. That's a loss, folks. Just so you're aware. Selling of your shares and stocks is a loss. You're losing value as it goes. But this is the wave of the wand and double speak that that people don't understand, and then you see that bullshit all over social media. Let's keep going. This is like watching a Jimmy Kimmel episode the other day. At this point, almost every statement coming out of his mouth is just complete and total bullshit.
But again, that's nonsense. Industry has more approved permits for production on federal lands than they can possibly use.
Once again, I've covered this. Yes, they have permits, but you can't just go out there and drill a hole in the ground. You have to go to the Department of Natural Resources. You have to go to the Department of Energy. You have to put in your permits. You have to get safety inspections done. You have to get these environmental protection certifications to state that you're not going to destroy the environment. All ran by the Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Energy. Who's in charge of them? People Biden put in charge. They're not doing these things. They're not approving these things. So he says, oh yeah, they got permit. They got land leases. They can't do shit with it. And just so you know, half of the places that they have permits on, they've already done exploratory drilling on, and there's nothing there, or it's so trashed that it would cost more money to clean it up to get it out. Long story short, he is cherry picking a portion of different stats to make it seem like what he wants. That's dishonest, which is why reality at the pump and the economy don't match. I'll explain that. And once again, I said, I'll explain to you why this 18 cents won't work when we get to the other side of this.
That's a fact. My administration also directed the sale of gasoline using homegrown biofuels, ethanol, E15, this summer, which will boost gasoline supplies and lower the price at thousands of gas stations across America. And I welcome the recent announcement from what's known as the OPEC Plus, a group of nearly 24 oil-producing nations, to increase global oil supply. The bottom line is,
you're really going to try and create another organization to offset OPEC? And accomplish what? You're just gonna make it worse. You just actually hold on. If they do it and it works the way that it's supposed to be, liberals are gonna get pissed. Why? Because you have a liberal in office that's trying to create a capitalist market system between OPEC and another organization. So you're making competition. You're not supposed to do that, and you're going to get hammered if it even works, which it's not. It's really not. You know how many times there's been countries try to create a separated organization, try to band together away from it just won't. Yes, most cars can't use E85 fuel, which is your corn, which is your biofuel. You know, the government turned around and bought a whole bunch of farms out to produce E85, then shut the farms down, paying farmers not to farm anymore. You know, we have a food shortage in the United States of America right now. We still have farmers sitting on fertile land that are being paid by the government not to make food. Then you got places like, okay, and first of all, you're like, we're going to start making E85 fuel out of her. Do you know that China owns a large percentage of the American farms that produce the corn that gets made for E85 fuel? Did y'all know that? A large percentage of it. Thank Clinton for that. Just saying.
we are setting records in terms of American energy production. We're supplementing that supply with a release from our oil reserves. So the issue isn't oil production alone. The problem is the refining of that oil into gas at the pump. During the pandemic, some oil and gas companies shut down refining facilities. Last week, I sent a letter to the CEOs of the largest oil refining companies asking them to work with my administration to bring refineries back online to get more gas to the pump at lower prices.
Do you know why they shut the refineries down? Remember, we're supposedly producing more oil than we ever have? Then why wasn't it going to the refineries? Because if they're getting this larger increase in oil, then they're going to make more fuel. The demand for fuel skyrocketed after we came on the other side of the pandemic, but there wasn't the oil to support it. During the Trump administration, you had the oil companies making more refinery, expanding the refinery facilities to make more fuel. And then their supply line gets cut down. So what are we going to do? Pay a bunch of guys to sit around and not do shit? They don't just, fuel companies don't just arbitrarily shut down a refining facility. Okay, anybody that lives in Texas long enough knows you don't just shut down a refinery. It's a long and expensive process to do that. You don't just walk in, and this is where they make it sound bad. Okay, they make it sound like somebody walked in, said, all right, everybody, go home, flip the switch. It doesn't work that way. With the Department of Natural Resources, the cleanups they have to do, all the different stuff that they have to do, the environmental stuff and everything else, it's very expensive to shut down a refinery. So you don't just shut down a refinery because you're just like, oh, fuck it. They shut it down because they can't operate it anymore because they don't have the supply in order to maintain the operations. Okay? They don't have the supply to maintain the operation, so they shut it down. Otherwise, they would keep these things running. And they're going to tell you, and they've been telling you, well, they shut down the refineries to slow down the production, to increase the demand, to make more profits. That's what they tell you. That's total bullshit. It's a complete lie. Let's keep going. Yeah, I know. first of all, E85 is garbage. If we went bio, we couldn't make enough, and it costs 10 times more. The return on volume and refining, it just isn't there. And it is. It's the amount of corn you have to produce in order to match oil. There isn't enough land in the United States to do that. Okay? The process is very extensive, and it's very expensive. Okay? It's not easy. Yes, and I was going to get to that. It makes no sense. Either we have the oil or we're not, or we're refining or we're not, or where are the stats to prove it? There is no stats to prove it. They just make these bulletins out there, and they expect you to believe them. Hell, the White House press secretary came and answered the questions when she's asked about it. Well, why did they shut down their plants? Well, because they're trying to drive cost. But why is it that their profit margin is lower doing this? And then they tell you, oh, no, well, they made more money than they ever made. No, they didn't. 75 Lurch, it also costs millions to restart those facilities. Yes, it does. Is the government going to give these companies a tax break for restarting these facilities again? Even if you can get the permits to restart, there's their other thing is the Department of the Natural Resources and Energy going to approve the permits to restart the refineries, because you got to go through them too. Many did take advantage of the slump for repairs and upgrades, but to restart they have to get approval. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. All right, let's keep going.
The Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, and members of my team will be meeting with many of these refining companies tomorrow. And I hope they'll come up to the table with some real ideas and practical steps in the near term.
Number one idea is going to get thrown. Let's pull more oil out of the ground. That'd be the number one idea. He's going to try to tell them, but you can. And he's going to look at it and go, no, we can't. Talk to your Secretary of Energy, your Secretary of the Department, the head of the Department of Natural Resources. Get our permits approved.
And I'm prepared to act quickly and decisively on the recommendations if they make sense to address the immediate challenge in front of us and the American people.
You're going to act quickly and decisively what? By, I don't know, you got what, 2 days left? You're going to head back to Rehoboth, go fall off a bicycle?
Finally, when the cost of oil does come down, we need the price at the gas stations that they charge at the pump to come down as well. For example,
okay, I told you I'd explain it
in
after.
the last 2 weeks, the price of oil has fallen by more than $10 a barrel. Normally, this reduced the cost at the pump about 25 cents a gallon.
That's incorrect.
Yet, so far, gas stations have only reduced prices by a few cents a gallon.
That's actually accurate. Okay, let me explain this. Okay, the reason why fuel hasn't dropped yet, it doesn't drop instantly, folks. The reason being is because the gas station needs to recoup what it paid for the fuel that's already in the ground. So until they get a new cycle, until they get cycled through, I know I've worked at enough damn gas stations, and I've asked this question many times, until they cycle through what they paid for, they can't drop the price, because if they drop the price, they lose money. Folks, I just want you to be aware of this. How many people out there right now, show of hands, thinks that price sitting behind them right now, that means that gas station that they took that picture of is making killer bank off that fuel? Okay, show of hands. Because they're not. Okay, so station manager just looked it up. Just looked up a graph. Oil production in the U.S. has dropped over 5,000 barrels per day in 2020 and has not recovered even by half. That's barrels per day. Okay, so 5,000 per day dropped per day. Do the numbers. 365. We're at 2022. Twice, and we're halfway through this year. But I guarantee you, station manager can tell me, can say the same thing. Literally, the gas company or the gas station on average makes 2 cents per gallon, sometimes 1 cent per gallon. If they lower the price of fuel at the gas station 20 cents right now, they lose shit tons of money on what's already sitting in the ground at the gas station. Do you know where gas stations make their money? Convenience sales. You ever notice when you go into the gas station, there's a billion different options for a lot of stuff. Always stuff on sale. You got sale stuck in your face because it makes you want to buy something. Because that's where they make their money. And they don't even make that much. Gas station, you know how you make money in the gas station industry? You own a lot of gas stations. There it is again. Owning in bulk is what makes you money. Okay? That's where your money maker is. A guy that I used to work for owned a bunch of gas stations. Okay? That's where he made his money. Was because he owned a bunch of them. Not just one, not just two. He owned a bunch. That's where they make their money at. So when he says, oh, well, the price of oil has dropped $10 a barrel, but we're not seeing it at the, we're not seeing the price drop by, 20 cents at the gas station. Well, no, because people have cut back their driving and the gas stations still have fuel sitting in the ground that they paid the higher amount for since the drop. So the prices are only going to drop a couple cents here, a couple cents there. It's not like all of a sudden that, the gas station looks at the stock market in the morning. Oh, oil's dropped. Oil dropped. We got to lower the gas price at the gas station now. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. He's making you think it works that way. It doesn't work that way. This guy's a dumbass.
Some haven't reduced prices at all. I've heard plenty of explanations from companies and economists about why it normally takes time for these price reductions to reach the consumer. I might note that the price of a barrel of oil goes up, it doesn't take much time for the price at the pump to go up.
Actually, it does.
So let's be honest with one another. My message is simple. To the companies running gas stations and setting those prices at the pump, this is a time of war, global peril, Ukraine. These are not normal times. Bring down the price you are charging at the pump to reflect the cost you are paying for the product. Do it now. Do it today.
Oh, we're doing that.
Customers, the American people, they need relief now.
Okay. So again, another lie. When the cost of oil goes up, they raise the price. Yeah, when the company they're buying the gas from to put in the ground at the gas station charges them more money for the tank of fuel they're about to jump in the ground, guess what they're going to do? They're going to raise the price on the board. Because they have to recover that loss. Now, when the next tanker comes in that's lower in price, they'll start bringing it down. There's actually a software program now that they could sit there, and I asked Weiss about this. I contacted Weiss today to find out. There's actually a computer program now where Weiss can put in how many gallons of fuel he still has left in his tanks and how much he paid per gallon for the fuel. And when the new truck comes in, how many gallons it added at what price. And the computer will tell him, the program will tell him, this is how much his cost is per gallon that's sitting in his tanks now. And he will change the signs out there. Any company's got Valero on it, their system already automatically updates it for them. The gas stations don't ever touch it. Okay, any of the gas stations that are directly linked to a gasoline producing company, their system automatically does it. Okay, but Weiss is an independent, so he has to buy fuel from other places. The software will tell him, okay, this is how much cost per gallon you have in your tanks now. So Weiss will change the sign out on the street to reflect that cost. Okay, so oil may be $10 cheaper, but Weiss's gas that he paid per gallon may only be 3 cents cheaper that he got on Tuesday Next Tuesday, it'll be another 3 cents cheaper, so he'll move his board down as it goes. It's not just instant, folks. Again, it's not like they look at the stock market in the morning, see that oil dropped $10, and they start dropping the price on. They start dropping the price on the out on the board, and it's not the other way around. They don't look and say oil went up $20 last night. Well, we need to raise it 20 cents on the board. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't work that way. All of what he's saying is a complete sham. It is a complete sham.
So let me summarize. Today I'm calling for a federal gas tax holiday, state gas tax holiday for the equivalent relief to customers.
It won't work.
Oil companies to use their profits to increase refining capacity rather than buy back their own stock. Gas stations to pass along the decree.
Are y'all seeing the prices just
not the decree,
plummet on the
prices
on the gas sign out there?
The pump. And together these actions could help drop the price at the pump by up to $1 a gallon or more. It doesn't reduce all the pain, but it would be a big help. I'm doing my part. I want the Congress, the states, and the industry to do their part as well. And let's remember how we got here. Putin invaded.
Oh, God, here we go. Putin again.
Putin invaded Ukraine with 100,000 forces. Just look at the facts. Since the start of the war in Ukraine this year, gas prices have risen by almost $2 a gallon in the United States and sometimes more around the world.
Gas prices raised faster before Putin went into Ukraine, by the way. I have a graph. I can bring that up to prove it, or if anybody wants me to send a copy of the graph, I can send the graph. But that yes, did the invasion of Ukraine affect oil prices and gas prices? It did. I've never denied that. But not at the rate that it spiked in the United States. It had nothing to do with it because Russia wasn't in Ukraine at the time they spiked.
But it wasn't just Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Mm-hmm. It was refusal of the United States and the rest of the free world to let Putin get away with something we haven't seen since World War II. I said at the time, siding with Ukraine during the most serious aggression in Europe since World War II, defending freedom, defending democracy, was not going to go without cost for the American people and the rest of the free world.
Yeah, like the billions and billions. In the words of Carl Sagan, for you older people out there that would remember this, billions and billions and billions that we've sent them.
We were going to have to pay a price as well in the cost of military equipment, economic assistance, humanitarian relief, and sanctioned Russian banking industries. Russia is also one of the largest oil producers in the world. We cut off Russian oil into the United States, and our partners in Europe did the same, knowing that we would see higher gas prices. We could have turned a blind eye to Putin's murderous ways. The price of gas wouldn't have spiked the way it has. I believe that would have been wrong. I believe then, and I believe now, the free world had no choice. America could not stand by, and the West could not have stood by, although some suggested at the time, and just watch Putin's tanks roll in Ukraine and seize a sovereign country. If we did stand by, Putin wouldn't have stopped. Putin would have kept going.
And we've been at this long enough. We could have recovered the loss.
And it wasn't just me. The American people understood. The American people rose to the moment. The American people did what they always had done, defend freedom around the world. They chose to stand with the people of Ukraine. We had near unanimous support in the Congress, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, for supporting Ukraine, knowing full well the cost. So for all those Republicans in Congress criticizing me today for high gas prices in America, are you now saying we were wrong to support Ukraine?
That's not what they're saying. Nice dodge there, asshole.
Are you saying that we would rather have lower gas prices in America and Putin's iron fist in Europe? I don't believe that. Look,
Oh,
I get the easy
whoever wrote
politics
that part of
big
the
facts.
speech
I
thought they
get
were
that.
crafty.
But the simple truth is gas prices are up almost $2 a gallon because of Vladimir Putin's ruthless attack on Ukraine, and we wouldn't let him get away with it.
That's
We're
bullshit.
doing everything we can to reduce this pain at the pump now. And if those experiences has shown us anything, it's that we need to grow and harness more energy here at home. Let's lower the price of electric vehicles so we never have to pay at the pump in the first place.
How are we going to do that?
Major auto companies are preparing for a 50% of future sales to be electric vehicles by 2030, 100% by 2035. We're already building secure supply chains.
Our electric grid cannot handle our current grid. Okay, think about this. The city of Los Angeles has requested that people who own electric vehicles to not charge them overnight, as the strain on the grid from the summer has made it to where they cannot continuously provide power at that strain on the system. Texas electric companies are now asking people to hold off on the frequency of charging their vehicles. They've also requested that we set our thermostats here in South Texas to 80 degrees. I don't know about you. I'm not setting my thermostat to 80 damn degrees. But he's saying they're going to be 100% electric vehicles by 2035. No, they're not. The amount of car sales that happen in the United States of America, the current price. And does anybody know why electric cars cost as much as they do? Because it's an extremely difficult process to get the minerals to make the batteries. It's expensive. And we've yet to figure out a cheaper way to mine them. And we've yet to figure out a cheaper alternative. And, well, we're not allowed to further progress our nuclear energy capabilities thanks to tree huggers. So, saying, I don't see us 2035 all electric vehicles, Chief.
Build these electric vehicles here in America.
We
and
do.
We're investing almost $100 billion in public transit and rail. For all the studies show.
We've invested billions of dollars in public transit and rail to get stabbed on, to get shot on, to get mugged, to get robbed. I mean, you want to check your self-defense capabilities, your hand-to-hand combat? Go ride a subway. Go ride a subway train in one of these major cities. If you do it enough, every single day for a good week, 2 weeks, at some point you're going to get mugged. Good time to check those, check that self-defense techniques. People don't want to ride the subways. People don't want to ride the buses because these cities don't give a shit about criminals. So it's not safe. His Green Deal is BS. There are no steps being taken to obtain the minerals, improve the grid, to distribution, supply, electric, to try and shut down power plants. What are they going to do to make it happen? Right?
That it will take millions of cars off the road and significantly reduce pollution if there's a serious transportation system available.
It's extremely toxic to make the batteries, to mine the batteries for the electric
Sources
cars.
of energy like solar and wind and nuclear and hydrogen and carbon capture storage.
How about thorium?
Keep developing the battery technologies so we can store that power we need when the sun doesn't shine or the wind doesn't blow.
How about thorium reactors,
Folks,
Mr. President?
Let's make sure we're never again forced to pay the price of a menacing dictator halfway around the world. We can deal with this immediate crisis of high gas prices and still seize the clean energy future. We're Americans. We can do both. We are the most qualified people in the world.
No, we don't.
Let me close with this.
We used to.
Even as we lead the world
They
in
left.
defending democracy and standing up to a brutal autocrat, there are actions we can take to help American families now. We have taken them. We are taking them. The federal gas tax holiday, state gas tax holiday, bringing back refineries, putting them back online. We just have to keep going. I promise you I'm doing everything possible.
No, you're not.
Everything possible to bring the price of energy down, gas prices down. And I want to make sure we all work on this together. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you very much.
Well, at least he didn't turn around and try to shake somebody's hand that wasn't there. All right, so there we go. That came from... let's see here. Thank God it wasn't one of the naked ones on there. Okay, so let's talk about this a little. I covered a lot during that, but let me talk to you about why. Oh, let me catch up because Rathlow's been over here talking the whole time, and I've just not been paying attention to him. I can't repeat that one. Rathlow thinks that we've got a war over oil coming. It's very possible. It's your fault, Mr. President. I'm not going to go into some of the colorful language. My ears are bleeding just hearing this guy every time impeach his ass. Yeah? I think I just froze over here. By the way, that came from PBS NewsHour, giving them credit for the video. They had the best one where it didn't have a bunch of bullshit on it, other than just him, which is enough bullshit. All right, so why is the 85 cents not going to work? Why is the tax holiday thing, the 18-cent federal tax holiday thing, not going to work? Okay, let me explain to you why. I'm going to make it real easy for you. Remember when they said that there was a really bad flu, which then we found out later was COVID, moving through, and the chief symptoms were diarrhea? And you remember what happened? Everybody went out and bought toilet paper. Couldn't find toilet paper anywhere. Right? Well, people started trimming back, and the demand for gasoline has gone down. Now the president says he's going to eliminate 18 cents per gallon. People can go out and buy a whole bunch of gas. Guess what? It's going to put us right back into the demand cycle again. It's going to end up causing the prices to rise again. Because you have idiots who are not going to sit there and go, well, you're going to have a lot of people like, yeah, well, 18 cents still don't mean shit. Still going to cost me $100 some odd to fill my tank. But you're going to have a lot of people who are going to go, let's go get gas. It's 18 cents cheaper now. And everybody's going to go out and get fuel. And we're going to be right back to where we started. It's not going to work. The last time that we played around with one of these, and this is why Barack Obama, I'll give him credit for this one. This is why Barack Obama didn't want to do this. People kept saying, why don't you make a gas tax holiday? You know what Barack Obama said? It's a gimmick. It doesn't work. Bill Clinton said the same thing. It's a gimmick. It doesn't work. Every president has said, and guess who was one of the chief people promoting this idea during other gasoline situations? That would be Joe Biden when he was a senator. And every president that he's thrown that idea at has told him it's a gimmick, it won't work. Hey, now he's president. Now he's going to do it. And of course, at the end, when it doesn't work, what are we going to do? We're going to blame fucking Putin. We're going to blame this. We're going to blame that. We're going to blame everybody else. I mean, this guy he has told you all he's been is successful, and all of the failures are everybody else's fault. My camera. Okay, there it goes. It was focusing on the cup, and then I moved it. This is insane. It's not going to work. Taking 18 cents off a gallon, and then he said, we're going to do more to lower the cost for almost $1. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do that. But now, like I said, I told you right now, the 18 cents is not going to work. It's real simple. You're going to have the idiots that are going to go out there and go get a bunch of fuel. It's like that. It's like that gas boycott thing that's floating around right now. On July 2nd, you're supposed to go fill up your tanks and then not buy gas from the 3rd through the 5th like it's going to affect something. Well, if everybody's trimmed back their driving so they're not using as much gas right now, and if on the 2nd you fill your tank, it still counts like you use it on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July. It didn't affect anything. Hey, I want to hear you, not the cup, nut ball. Oh, I'm sorry. Was the cup too loud? It's nuts. Okay, it's absolutely nuts. And so nothing's going to be resolved by this. It's not going to work. You're going to get idiots that are going to go out there. They're going to buy a bunch of fuel. Now they're like, oh, it's going to be cheaper now. I'll go fill up my tanks, and the demand's going to spike again, and the prices are going to hit again. They're going to blame it on greedy oil companies. No, it's the price of demand outrunning the ability for them to make it. So they have to raise the price to control it down in order for them to keep up in order for them to be able to keep up. Global market. We had this discussion on the show. Lowering 18 cents a gallon in the United States. And then we're, 240 million barrels to be injected into the global market. Means it's not coming to the United States. And refining capacity has dropped worldwide. Okay, so station manager's been doing some searching online while we've been on there. So refining is down about 1 million barrels a day since 2020. If profits are so good, why isn't the refineries online? Because profits aren't that good. And that's why the refineries are going offline. Because oil production is down, because oil volume is down. Therefore, they're not making money, and it costs them too much to keep it open. Why are you going to keep a refinery open if your refinery is down to such a low capacity that you're not making... Why is that not going away? That was great. It froze. Yeah, it's just not, you're just not going to... It's not going to matter. And refining capacity has dropped worldwide in every single country. Yes. So, no. Sorry about your luck. It's not going to work. It's a gimmick. It's not going to work. They're going to blame it on somebody else. The hope is that they can get everybody on board to drop the cost of fuel. So then that way, the midterm elections coming up in November. Oh, well, we dropped the price of fuel, so vote for us. No, you've wrecked every damn thing else. Oh, great. Folks, it's not going to work, like I told you. It's not going to work. Because, like I said, people are going to go out and they're going to spike the demand again. It's going to raise the prices. It's not going to work. Then, like I said, we're going to have a president that's going to blame everybody else under the sun for his failure on this one. Most of it is regulatory. It is. And then so instead of the gas tax to cover, roadways and shit like that, which is part of the Build Back Better plan, we're going to just go ahead and spend the money with what we claim we saved, which, isn't going to work. We haven't built a new one in 29 years. What are you talking about? An oil refinery? I know that they expanded some of them during the pandemic. They did some expansions and some refits on a bunch of refineries. Many shut down were grandfathered on crutches and won't ever reopen. Yeah, there was some old ones that they shut down. I know Exxon said that. I know Exxon said that they had like three whole facility properties that were built back in like the 70s that they had to take down because it was costing them too much to operate because of all the maintenance issues. But Exxon was talking about the possibility of tearing the facility down and building a brand new one, but now they can't because the government won't approve the permits to tear it all down and build a new facility. So it is what it is. This is not going to work. Rathalos wants to know, when is this tax day coming? We'll find out in the next day or two. Supposedly, the president has made the official request to Congress. Congress is supposed to propose it and do a vote on the floor. If it passes in Congress, which it probably will, then it goes to the Senate. The Senate approves it. Then it goes back to the president to sign it because he can't arbitrarily remove that tax without Congress. So I'd say probably starts on Monday. If they move with any real certainty, it starts on Monday, or it's because it's we're going to be going into Thursday, and he just made the announcement today. There's no way they're getting this through the Senate, the House, and the Senate. So it's coming, but it's like I said, it's not going to work. Okay, so all right, folks. That's the main part of the show tonight. However, I do have to end this show with some sad news. I don't know if you guys saw my Facebook page yesterday, but I found out yesterday that a dear friend of the family, man, I called an uncle. Gary passed away a day or two ago. I don't know what of or any of the details, but I know that he has passed away. He's my dad's best friend, and it's difficult. Gary was a good friend, great guy. Every time I saw him, he always had a smile on his face. Always had a little bit of a laugh. He was a very, very kind heart, very nice guy. When I was a little kid, I used to go over to his house. They were right next door to us, and me and his kid used to play all the time. Me and Karen. Like I said, great guy, quick wit, very, very, very nice, very giving man, just an amazing guy. But he passed away a couple days ago. And it's been kind of difficult in my head. I really seriously thought about not doing a show tonight because of that, but I'm going to end the show to give a little props to Uncle Gary. You're a great man. And until we meet on the other side, you will definitely be missed. Everybody, you guys have yourselves a good night. For everybody here at the world famous Rich Wilson Show, I'm Rich Wilson. And we'll see you later. All right. Good night.